I just want to alert people on my Facebook and all that I'm live. Welcome to my channel. I hope you can hear me. I know I'm playing music on the background. Please let me know if this music is too loud and you cannot hear me. And if you are new to my channel, my name is Malibu Zindi. I am a holistic life coach and energy healer and also an award-winning author. If you are new to this channel, please click on the subscribe button so that we can grow this community together. Thank you very much. While we are doing that, let me do the right thing. You know, there's this particular person who's calling me at the wrong time. Like even right now. Let me just check. Okay. I like the lighting on the phone. But anyway. Let me just check. Okay. Oh, I see there's one person who have joined. Please join using this. Oh, okay, guys, here is the thing. When you log in here, please let me know who you are, because it's not like Facebook. At least Facebook, you can see who logs in sometimes, but when it comes to YouTube, you hardly see it. Okay. And oh my goodness. Oh, hey, Miner. Yes, yes. Okay. Just a bit until I update here. My phone is doing some things, eh? Okay. I hope you're good, guys. Please, if you haven't watched, not watched, listen to the podcast. I think I'm enjoying podcasting because, like, you literally sit there and for the whole day, I would be playing different podcasts, you know, from Sarah Jakes, you know, to people who help with money and all that. So please, check out the podcast, and you will understand why we are talking about what we are talking about today. But anyway, let me just... All right, so today we're talking about who is God in your life. I hope that you have enjoyed the podcast. I hope it also had triggered some of the things within you, you know, having you have to go back to understanding who God is to you, because many people don't know who God is. They just know God from a templating of a religion. And sometimes, and I just want to highlight, religion is good. However, with the corruption that has been happening within all religions, really, we no longer know who God is. Most people you know, in this understanding that in order for them to know who God is, they have to subscribe to a certain church, and if they are not inside of that church, then it means that they are not connected to God. So we really have to expand on who God is for ourselves, right? And just again to mention, I see that there are two people joining, but I don't know who is the other person. just to highlight, spirit fed was born because of my soul not being happy or not being fulfilled. Yes, that is the word. Not being fulfilled about certain preachings and certain teachings. And God said to me, why? Because I looked for a church and I felt like, oh my goodness, I listened to other pastors and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's good, but but the fulfillment, if you know what I'm talking about, the fulfillment of my soul. And one day when I was sitting down and really wanting to understand what is going on, God said to me, you need to take up this role because no one is going to take it up for you, right? So that is the reason why Spirit Fed was born. And I'm not trying to bash religion. I am also not trying to be a religious pastor. All I'm trying to do is that for people who are going to follow me on this path, on this journey, to help you feed your spirit with understanding. And when you have to ask, you asking empowering questions, right? Okay, so let me just update on my, sorry guys, you see I don't have my assistant with me, so I'll have to do everything by myself. Okay. So here's one thing that I've seen in many religions. I've seen that many religions have taught us God who is shameful or who's full of, all these negative ideas or negative, punishment. I spoke about it on their podcast, punishment and all that. Now, because of that, we then bring or we keep on repeating that history. So there was this certain girl at church who was not married, and she got pregnant, and she was part of the intercession and also part of what is this ashes. So she was really deep inside of ministry, unlike us who were not really there, but with her she was deeply inside of ministry serving other people, and she got pregnant along the way. And when she got pregnant, she started, obviously, pregnancy starts with you looking like you have a flat tummy, and then 7 months later you look like, oh my goodness, what is this? So she then became pregnant, and she wanted to hide the pregnancy so much, so much that I would see her in the church wearing something like, I didn't understand what is this lady doing, because we can see that she's pregnant. However, one of the things that came out is that most of the time when we are doing that which is outside of the God that we are taught about, we become shameful. And it's not only her who was going through that journey. For people who are not married and having sex before marriage, those people suffer the consequences of being shameful, after they know that sex beyond a spirit, or if we can put it as a spiritual need, sex is also a biological need. So the body needs sex, and then the next thing, and when the body needs sex, you just do it. But again, you are taught about this God who's going to punish you and do all this type of things, and guess what, you become shameful as you are doing the act. So this beautiful young lady was pregnant and having, or was carrying within her, the spirit of shame. And not only that, the spirit of shame was upon her, but it was upon a child that she was bringing into this existence. So most of my life, as most of you know, I really teach people about that trauma can even, or wounds can even come from the time when you were conceived as a fetus inside of your mother's womb. And I thought about how this child is going to think about herself. Not so long ago, I was having like really more sessions on people who were born with the vibration or the spirit or the energy of shame, and some of these people is because something happened in their, or something happened in their mother's life or their father's life that brought shame into them. And some of these people now, it's because of who we were taught to believe God is. Like I'm saying, with this lady who was pregnant before marriage, and she felt shameful because she went outside of the rules of the religion that she was in, and she was carrying a lot of shame in her pregnancy. And we wonder why we keep on repeating a lot of trauma and a whole lot of things. We're thinking that we're not praying enough, we are not doing a lot enough. But what we are not doing is understanding who God is for me, right? You have to really go down to understanding who is God for me. And on the podcast, just in case you haven't listened to the podcast, I said I cannot relate to a God that is jealous. And maybe somebody might be thinking, oh my goodness, that is how Christianity is, and maybe that makes me not a Christian, or makes me not a believer. I'm a believer and a follower to Christ. I do believe that Christ was here, and I do believe everything that has been done by Christ, the miracles, the healing of people and all that. However, I cannot for the life of me relate to this God who is going to wait for me. When I don't know if this thing is going to happen when all of us are dead, or when is it going to happen, but he will be waiting with I don't know how many people. Already we are 7 billion in this universe, in this earth, right? We have a population of 7 billion, but there are other people who lived before us, our forefathers who were living in the 1800s and all that. So I don't know if their judgment had already been done, and am I that time when my judgment, when I die, when now it's judgment, I cannot relate to the God who's waiting on a book and say, you are going to hell, you are going to heaven. This is what you did when you were 1 year old minor, and you didn't ask for forgiveness because you said no to Jesus. So you are not going to go there because you didn't understand Jesus. So you are not going to go to heaven, you are going to go to. I cannot for the life of me relate to that God, because I believe that God is within me. So if he's going to be judging me, why can't he judge me right now? Why can't he lead me right now? Because with me, I believe that the Spirit of God lives inside of me, and for God to exist in the realm of the physical, he has to have a body, as in like any other spirit that is out there, right? So we have to get deeper into understanding God for ourselves. And I believe that is why COVID, when COVID came, a lot of people stopped going to church. I mean, there was this a lady who sold me a church after like a year or two. I think it's a year, or yeah, no, it's 2 years. And she was like, yo, I want to go back to church, but I don't even have the energy. How did you even have the energy to go back to church? It was a time for us as human beings to go back to ourselves, to learn who we are, to understand what we want, and who is God for ourselves, beyond this responsibility that we have given to pastors, because a lot of people have given a responsibility to pastors to say, you must teach me about God, on top of that you must heal me, you must perform miracles. And we are just sitting there wondering, why has my life turned out to be this way? It's because there is a God within you whom you haven't have a relationship with. The God that you have a relationship with might be coming from a religion, might be coming from your culture, might be coming from a tradition, but you haven't defined who God is in your life, right? One of the things also that I spoke about is the fact that most of us grew up in already a country, a city, a village, a town that is religious. When you go to the Middle East, people there are Muslims. So when you grow up there, you are growing up inside of a religion, right? When you grow up in South Africa, you probably going to grow up inside of a religion, right, called Christianity. When you grow up in India, you're going, so your God is going to be defined by your geographical location most of the time, and what people have said about God. But how about we take this moment of our lives to really understand who God is for us? And I believe that when we tap into that, when we ask questions, why God would every time when I ask people like that, when I ask people who are very religious, people who are holier than me, that why didn't God kill Satan? Like, we didn't have to go through what we're going through now. Like, why didn't God kill Satan? And now God had to give up his child, one and begotten son, to come here and all those type of things. And people be like, no, don't think with logic when you're thinking of the things of God. Guys, it's time for us to stop, relying on people who don't even know themselves. It's time for us to stop relying on other people for us to know God. We are living in an age and a time where we can access God for ourselves, where we can speak to God for ourselves. A lot of people, when I speak about dive in the spirit, they would be like, what do you mean, coach? I must dive in the spirit. I always tell people that there is no one who can come in my presence that I don't know of, right? There's no one whom, when a person comes and one they come for a healing session or whatever, I already know their problems before they could even tell me their problems, because it was an agreement with me before conception, agreement with God, right? Who is within me and letting me know that. You remember, yeah, before conception, this is the work that you said you're going to do, and you had a contract with this person that you're going to heal. And people would be in a session and asking, how do you know that? Because in the spiritual realm, there is no secret. And when you become spiritually inclined, when you understand God for yourself, you know who you are and what it is that you can do. So I want us to go back and really deepen our knowledge on God. I spoke about as well on the podcast that when we read about these people in the Bible, for me, it's people in the Bible. I don't know about any other religion, but these people were not religious. Actually, there is a picture that I would share on social media that said Jesus was not a Christian, Buddha was not a Buddhist, huh? And Muhammad was not a Muslim. All these people, what they did was to show love. Their religion was love, and that is the reason why people were so much drawn to them. In this world that we are living in, people are religious. They are spitting scriptures and spitting their God according to their religion, but their hearts do not have love. That is why even many people would be like, yo, I don't want to go to church. People in churches like this and that. I don't want to go to a mosque or a temple, because people who are religious are like this and this. It is time for us to change, because if we believe that God is love, we have to mimic that love, or we have to actually embody that love. God is within us, and if God is within us, why do we have less love in us? Why don't we have the love that we need to make sure that we manifest the life that we want, to make sure that we love our the people that are in our lives, our partners, our husbands, our wives, to make sure that we love our children, to make sure that we form healthy and good relationships with the people that we work with. So I'm asking you today that let us go back to the time when we look in the Bible. They didn't say Jesus, the religious Jesus and all that. They said Jesus, the Son of God. Jesus would hear from God. Jesus, because he understood himself so much. Even when the devil, when the Bible says that the devil was saying, I can give you all this land and all that. And Jesus said, get away from me, Satan, because he already knew that I already, by birthright, for me being here, I have a right of this inheritance. But with us, we don't know those type of things. We don't know who God is. We know this God who's going to punish us, who's going to do all these things, and we are living in so much fear that is this a sin? Like people will be they are quick to ask, is smoking a sin? Is drinking a sin? Is what a sin? It's not about a sin. It's about you understanding the God that is within you, so that this God can tell you that what you are doing is not right. What you are doing is not right. You understand what I'm saying? You don't have to wait for people to give you a document that a sin is 1, 2, 3, a sin is this and that. You just have to know, because inside of you, you have connected with your God. And when you go, you see the work I'm doing. I attract sangomas, I attract Christians, I attract people from all walks of life. And when they come to me, I am not going to say, oh, the blood of Jesus, and I accept them with love. The reason why my retreat will be like fully booked and all those type of things is because people have been working with me this journey, and they know that Coach Malebo will listen to you. Coach Malebo will not judge you. Coach Malebo, because there was a time in my life when I was religious. Like I always mention, I was born again in 2012, and just inside Benegant of that religion, of that container, I started judging people. I started even deleting people who were talking bad about God. I started getting worked out. Every day I would wake up and cry that the people of this generation are making jokes about Christianity. Christianity is not a religion. Christianity is the way of life. And I got to a point in my life where I had to say, girl, come back to yourself. Who is God? God is loving. So let me love even the people who are mocking what I believe in. Even people who don't believe in what I'm doing right now, I still show them love. You understand? So this is what we need to do for ourselves. Okay. Coach, you made me think, and I was taught wrong about God. I have been carrying shame and felt unworthy to come to God. This is one of the biggest issues. Next week, I will be talking about spirituality, how you become a spirit, or actually not even teaching you how, because you are already, how to remember. When people were saying in the church that I heard God said, I thought, my goodness, I never thought I would hear God, because I was taught in order for me to hear God, I need to live a certain way. Of course, when you are walking this walk of spirit, of connecting with your spirit, you will understand that, you know what, Mina, right now it's time for you to let go of alcohol. Now it's time for you to let go of this. But it's not an obligation that if you are doing this, then you are not worthy. So we have been taught in our different religions, really, that we need to become different people. That is why you see that many people will be different in church and different outside. So one day I went to a Chesanyama, no, House 22, and my friend was selling food there. So I went to help her, support her in that journey. Guess what happened? I saw these other two ladies from church. And of course, from church, they looked like holy people who don't do the things that I'm doing, because I always thought I'm the only one who's drinking, yeah. So I saw them, and they couldn't even look at me in the eye. They couldn't even greet me, because in the church, they look so holy. But go House 22, they were different people. Like, I was like, what the heck is going on? So religion has taught us, because it wants us to be certain types of people. Now people are living a double life. People are living a life of, let me please people in the church and wear a certain way. And then they let go. They go to a club, they drink, they smoke, they sleep around, and then they come back to church. But you are told that that life that you are living, right? You are not worthy of hearing from God and all that. So even if the time when I found out that I have a gift of healing, I didn't believe it, because the day before that I was poop drunk. I was poop drunk, and but I could heal a person. I was like, what the hell? No, it's not me. So it took me time for me to even accept my gift. I even asked God to give it to somebody else who I felt like they were deserving of the gift. But as I understand, God is not the God who's going to. Actually, God is not even surprised about how my life turned out to be. Like, from me being a drunkard where people did not believe in me, people told me I will never amount to anything, to the person that I am. It's not a surprise to God. So my life, as I said in the podcast, has been preordained. Your life has been preordained. So anything that is happening right now, don't think that God is like, oh, I'm surprised. What is happening? Oh, Mina, you are losing what? Oh, I do not know. No, God knows about your life. God knows the path that you are going to go through. But also, God knows that you are going to come back home to yourself and become the person that you are supposed to be. And you are going to be guided by His Spirit within you to do the things that you're supposed to do. As I close, I remember a lot of people were asking me, how did I learn how to heal people, how to do all these things? According to religion, I have to go to it's either I do it the traditional, the African traditional way, where I go and I have a gobela who's teaching me that this and this and that and that and that, right? The second one is for me to go to church, but I also have to have a pastor, or they call them a spiritual father, who's going to be guiding me throughout this entire journey. I did not go through that. I did not go through any of that. I went through a path of spirituality where I had to, me, myself, and I confront God and say, God, what do you want for me to do with this gift? And when God told me, this is what I want you to do with this gift, I started the healing sessions. And no one can claim and say, I taught Malibu this, because sometimes you, then they become your spiritual fathers, they become your gobelas, and then after that they claim your wealth and all those type of things. God taught me, or reminded me, how to be the healer, because I had a contract before conception. That is why there is a part in the Bible that says Jeremiah was ordained before conception to being a prophet to the nation. I was also ordained before I could come into fruition. So I also know that you too were ordained to be something. But because of what we have been taught to believe about ourselves, and about God, we think we are unworthy. We're thinking that some other people have got the gift, and other people don't have the gift, and you have to depend, rely on this person in order for you to be spiritually inclined. But when you define God for yourself, when you understand God for yourself, you'll understand that you do not need a mediator. You can speak to God by yourself. God, from that point within you, can direct you, Mina, to what you need to do with your life, to what your gift is. That is why I don't like to, even at times when somebody comes to my healing sessions and God tells me that the reason why the business is not going right, the reason why uh, 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 things are not going right is because this person is not on their purpose. They are not operating from their calling. And I hardly tell a person that this is what God is saying is your purpose. I will be like, this is your exercise to do, girl or boy. Go and check out what is your purpose in life. What had God called you to do in life? And people will go and that will be revealed, because I don't want people to depend on me to know about their lives when they have God inside of them. So go and listen to the podcast if you haven't. We are starting a spiritual journey where we're going to feed our souls. I am studying a container that is unified, and I'm saying, come, those of you who are heavily burdened. I'm saying, come, those of you who feel like I don't understand. I want to go to know God more, but it's as if there's something that is hindering me from knowing who God is. I want you to come as you are, because this is not a religious practice or anything. Of course, I'm coming from a religion called Christianity, and I am going to. I've been taught Christianity since when I was young, and it will be hard for me not to mention Christianity. But I'm not trying to make this a religious thing. I'm trying to help you, and as well help myself as you connect to the God that is within you. So go and listen to the podcast, and I will see you next week. Next week, we're going to talk about spirituality, how you can dive into the spirit, how you can know things. Hey, now guys, sometimes I just, God gave us the mind, the all these things, so that we can see our life how it's supposed to be. Now people are scared of that. People are scared of spirituality. One day I asked, in the spirit about a certain thing that I didn't understand, and what was revealed there was massive, and yeah. And how do I know these things? How do I know if it's? Some people say it's a familiar spirit, so what? you know what? From this, we are going to walk onto this journey. I don't know until how long we will have this spirit fed, but we will walk this journey to understand who God is and feed our souls. Kana coach, I love God, but I always had a problem with miracles. If I go to church and hear anything about miracles, I never go back to church, but it's in the Bible. I have a problem with prophecy. Like I never, even up until today, I'll never go to a church where they're saying they're going to prophesy. Yes, prophecy is there in the Bible, but I felt like I don't need to know. Let me find out by myself. I don't want you to tell me that in 2000 and mamang I'm going to have money, or somebody's going to kill me. Let me find out by myself. So I when I go to church, I go to a church where they're going to we sit down and we read scripture. No, I don't want miracles sessions and prophecy sessions. Oh, by this day on, I don't want those type of things. So it's okay. That's how you relate to God, right? And it's okay. It's your journey, and you will walk this journey, and you will be fine. Don't worry, you will be fine. Thank you very much, guys. I need to mention three things. One, we have a hike on the 9th of September. It's 400. We're talking about love story, healing your love story. So if you are in a relationship or you're not in a relationship, you have relationship problems or you don't have relationship problems, come through. It's just a 5 kilometer hike. It's not even difficult. Like you can do that without even exercising. Come through. It's going to be spirit filled, right? Spirit fed. Yeah, yes. And then on the 14th of October, we are going to have a retreat on healing your money and your relationship and understanding how these two things are collaborating, right? So come through. It's going to be a spa day. So it's a day where we're going to be doing a spa day. Come through. It's going to be nice. You're going to get your massages. So the intention of the session is so that we heal the mind, the body, and the spirit. So the massage is going to be your body releasing all these things. And then sometime in November, we're going to have a ladies' hike weekend where we're going to be, I'm going to be teaching deeper understanding of these spiritual things and how to connect and get the things that you want, right? Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Coach. When I'm head me in, of course, we had an agreement. We had an agreement, girl, before conception. I love you guys. Please subscribe, and I will see you next week. On the podcast, when you do use Spotify, click on that plus button or that follow button so that we grow the podcast. Thank you so much. Goodbye.